What's up, guys? I'm here to do a live reading review discussion on the latest chapter of One Piece. Because One Piece has a lot of dialogue, I'm going to try and speed things up because at my typical rate this video could take up to an hour, and I don't think my voice can last that long. But let's just see where it goes from here. So I'm on the first page right now, and let's just read through. Okay, so it seems like they have decided to help out the inmates, and so okay, it's pretty obvious what's happened given the poorly drawn ladders. I'm sure I don't even have to explain it to you. You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, this guy's a horrible drawer. I think it's one of those gag things. I actually like it, you know. If he was a good drawer, it'd be kind of lame. I know that some of you Naruto fans are probably saying, oh, they stole this from Naruto. Draw something, it comes to life. I don't think so, because that sort of mythology, I believe, and I could be wrong, was ingrained in Japanese history for a while. Yeah, that bird is just kind of disgusting. I hate how it moves and stuff. Next page. Okay, so I think that's just crazy. The fact that the dwarves are so strong. Like, people forget this. The dwarves are so fast that the humans can't see them with their bare eyes unless the dwarves want them to. That was illustrated before when they were all called pixies. And so again, it just illustrates something crazy, which is the whole fact that these dwarves were enslaved because of their naivety, not because that they were physically weaker than these humans, which is insane. So now they're rebelling because they trust the bees and the other dwarves outside more so than the humans, and so the bees, as you guys know, pretty much told them that, hey, you guys have been duped, you guys have been tricked. And so let's just keep reading. With these earplugs, I can't hear your lies anymore. Tontada swing. So yeah, these dwarves are very naive. God knows how they actually realistically get like through life. I think it's very funny, in fact, that they ran into Usopp, who is like probably the most notorious liar in all of One Piece. I wouldn't say ideal person, because Usopp always has a good heart. He only lies to benefit himself. He never lies to get something out of someone, or do evil things to someone. But yeah, it's kind of funny and awesome how they run into Usopp, the biggest liar of all time. Next page. Yeah, they're strong. These dwarves are strong. Despite them being so strong, though, they did lose to one of the members of Don Flamingo's entourage. So despite these dwarves being strong and all the dwarves being strong, I mean, just look at this panel. Tailhammer, he literally smashes this guy into the ground. His eyes pop out of his head. Despite all this, I feel like I really feel like that they're not that strong. I mean, they're strong, but compared to the entourage that Don Flamingo has, or just one of the members of the entourage, not even close. Moving on. Return all the Denden Mushi back to the wild. The earplugs. So that's kind of funny, because the Denden Mushi are actually living things. I found that very strange and peculiar in One Piece. The fact that the telephones are living snails. It's kind of strange, but that's how One Piece works. More so than that, we got this thing where, you know, a little bit of a gag reel, a little bit of comic relief. One of the dwarves shouts some things the others can't hear because they put on the earplugs in order not to hear what the bad guys were saying, so they wouldn't be convinced by their naivety. So they said, aid to the princess. Okay, so the aid to the princess, which seems to be this old man dwarf, has come to find the princess. So Mousy again falls into his naivety by realizing that the sign says keep out, so he keeps out. But fortunately, he was moving so fast that he had to break. He couldn't stop himself, and then he broke through. And I'm predicting that there's either nothing in here, or the princess is being tortured or enslaved in here. So the other doors are like, how could you? It said keep out. It's kind of funny. So it's just an ordinary warehouse. There's no princess. Is the door unlocked? We're opening it now. Heave ho. What's going on? Smile Factory front. Main entrance. We got Franky doing his thing. What are your thoughts on Franky, guys? I feel like since the time skip, he's obviously been a lot different. His personality is obviously more robotic, but more so than that, it's a completely different personality than Franky before the time skip. Do you feel like he's become too much of a robot? I still very much like him, and he's obviously doing a great job stalling these people out front of the factory. Oh, so they are opening the Smile Factory door from the inside. The dwarves are. And I believe what happened was Franky heard the dwarves, and so now he makes some remark on a frail old lady in a back alley on the right just now that he saw. Turn the handle and open door. I don't know if he's referring to this person. Factory boss Kyuin. She's obviously not frail, nor is she old. It says 20-year-old woman. I can't tell if that's a joke or not. I feel like it's a joke. Maybe Franky heard wrong, despite his great hearing as captioned in the narration. So she's the factory boss. And she has a Kyuin machine, which seems to be just one big vacuum cleaner that sucks everything in. I wonder what happens once it's sucked in. Ideally, the most practical would be some sort of metallic shredding, meat grinding device in order to immediately kill anything that enters it. But you know how One Piece works. They're not always practical. Like, that'd be the best thing. Most likely it's just like an empty bag inside, and the dwarves manage to escape later on. But it's funny how this woman, who has yet to be revealed, is she's a Smile Factory boss, but she's not one of Don Flamingo's entourage. So I'm assuming she's weaker than that. She's weaker than the entourage. Okay, so many of the dwarves have been sucked into the vacuum cleaner thing. Probably it's just an empty bag inside, so they're probably safe and they can escape. Ideally, though, you know, from a realistic, logical thing, if she wants to defeat all these people or kill them, she would have some meat grinder in there. But we know she doesn't. And so, yeah, this is actually pretty cool. I'm on the next page, and Franky just rips open the door from the outside, once the dwarves have unlocked it a bit with his massive arms. So, wow, it's a robot toy. A super strong robot came to help us. Is everyone okay? Inhale, Bomba, everyone. There he is, the giant human Fraudland. He's our ally. He's human. So again, Usopp's done a great thing. He has set up. He's not only set up but painted all of the One Piece crew in very good ways, so that the dwarves know immediately who to ally with, even if the story behind it is kind of fake. So here we have the factory queen, the factory boss, saying, "I'll kill you with my own hands," and again hinting back at the impracticality of her vacuum cleaner device. If you want to kill someone, don't use a vacuum cleaner. At least use a vacuum cleaning, meat grinding machine. Okay, so what seems to have happened is Franky is hugging her. And the dwarves are like, did he fall in love with the factory boss? Oh, I think I know what's happened. This person is a devil fruit user who can use her body as some sort of suction device. Oh wow, so what happened was kind of retarded. I don't know why or how this guy fell for it, but apparently he fell for it, and he's like, I don't see any little old lady in trouble anywhere. Although at the same time I'm relieved. So I guess he appealed to this guy's heroic side, even though he is kind of evil, but I guess he's heroic too. He's also very naive like the dwarves. And well, based off the body proportions, I didn't realize or think that this factory boss was so large compared to Franky, who's already pretty huge. Oh, I see you. I think I know what's going on. So the factory boss also does not know why he's hugging Franky. Franky doesn't know either. It seems like there's some sort of magnetic attraction because Franky is magnetic. Maybe there's something as part of this boss that's also magnetic. Southland suplex. So he did some sort of technique. It's hard to tell, but it seems like what has occurred is Franky has launched something. Oh no, she just flipped the girl, so they hit each other. So they pretty much knocked each other out. It's pretty cool. Oh no, the factory boss. That freaking hurt. Okay, she's still not dead. I'll yank out all your guts with my queuing machine. You'll cry. Okay, so Franky-san has now kissed the factory boss. Okay, so this is very, very strange. Why did Franky kiss this person? Was it because of the metallic quality that's making metallic parts of Franky attract to her? I still don't understand it. But it seems like Franky did it intentionally, because right after he makes no reaction, he just says, "Come on your feet, Mr. Speedo." And so now there's a, okay, I find this very funny. Very, very funny. It reminds me of how Dexter's Lab on Cartoon Network used to be drawn. So, the factory boss starts blushing and then is just very shocked. And then she's in pure silence, and then she's like, she has her hand to her mouth and she's like, "This man just kissed my lips." Is this gonna be another Boa Hancock situation? Why would you do a thing like that? Take responsibility like a man. You'll be my boyfriend now, right? Oh, you... The factory boss just got a bit more feminine. Don't go all after him about it, factory boss. It's your fault for being so affected by it. Take responsibility like a man. You'll be my boyfriend now. I found that funny. How else would you plug up the flapping mouth of something? It's kind of funny and somewhat true. So the just so you guys know where I'm at, the man from Don Flamingo's entourage, who has a binky, a baby binky and sunglasses on, and a speedo, he pretty much says, how else would you plug up the flapping mouth of a dame when she won't stop butting into a fight between two grown men? I find that somewhat true. Just from getting kissed once or twice, you're all worked up like that, Franky says. You're still a naive little mama's girl who doesn't know anything of love or romance. It's nothing more than puppy love. Then we see some silence, and we're nothing more than heartbreakers. I find this very funny. So both of these grown men end up saying the same thing at the same time. We're nothing more than heartbreakers after a lot of build-up and agreements in mindset between the two. Both of them are like, just from getting kissed, you're all worked up. Oh, it's nothing more than puppy love. Boom. We're nothing more than heartbreakers. And now this female is swooning, which is the exact opposite effect I was expecting. I thought she'd get enraged again and start fighting. But apparently not. So now all the, apparently the Binky guy has an entourage too, who is now falling for Franky as well. And they're like, yeah, what hot and hard-boiled hunks. Senor Franky. And now everyone's swooning. The man's fight is about to begin, the dwarves say, and then Franky's like, if you're a man, talk with your fists. And then Senor's like, I won't let you destroy the factory. And then the dwarves say, it's time for a man's fight. And then he starts using these baby techniques. Diaper bomb, nipple light special, which is, somewhat comical at the same time. Very strange. Next page. Before the new royal palace, pick a statue. So that pick a statue is completely messed up. The head's gone, cut in half, the body's cut in half. You let Rebecca and them escape. Oh, don't be so modest now. It's all thanks to you. Don't get all cocky, because there's no way I'll let scum like you ever leave this place. So they continue fighting. Zoro's a beast. I was expecting an even greater power, level up after his training with Mihawk. Obviously, it's very clear that he's weaker than Luffy. We don't know Luffy's cap yet. We kind of do, because he has fallen into very precarious situations where he needed someone else's help to get out of. Namely, when he fell into the water and so forth. But it's very clear that Zoro's weaker than Luffy, and both of them have gained enormous strength. We have yet to see their maximum caps. At least to the extent we've seen before the time skip, where literally there were arcs where it was very clear that they had exhausted all their fighting capability, and they couldn't do anything, and that was their cap. Namely, like for instance, when they met one of the vice admirals, and the whole crew fought that one guy. I think it was a Koji, and they all lost. It was very clear that was their cap. Anyhow. Oh, so they've landed, I believe? No, they're still flying. Okay, so this barrier guy is still swooning over Zoro. I found something very interesting and somewhat surprising. This barrier guy in the last chapter remarked on how he could not build a barrier big enough to block the Pika statue's punch, which I found shocking because we did not see any indication of this barrier man's limits, at least in terms of the Colosseum fights. So, you know, I feel like a lot of One Piece fans, as well as others, were thinking this barrier guy has yet to show his full capabilities, even in the Colosseum arc. So potentially, he's probably, based on his chemistry and his interactions and his personality and his abilities, it seems like he's another great fit for the One Piece crew. I feel like lately now they've sort of stepped away from that thing where each new member of the crew had some specific role: navigator, sniper, archer, marksman, cook, musician. And I feel like the next crew member is just going to be another member of the crew with no real role. And a lot of people are leaning on this barrier guy to join the crew, and I honestly don't mind him. I think his personality works well with the whole crew. I would like to see him join. There's been a lot of like theories, and most of the time they're on characters that I don't even want them to join. Jinbei, I'm glad he didn't join. He just didn't fit. Like, he was strong, but he just didn't fit. And there's others that I don't want to mention. It was just lame. Moving on. Former King's Plateau. So now we have God Usopp. I just, you know, again, just for the millionth time, I just find it comical and awesome that they've labeled Usopp as God Usopp and given him 5 stars ahead of Luffy. And then we see the most hysterical panel of Usopp here, crying but outraged at the same time. We're in for it now. What are we gonna do? They're all headed this way. Come on, Mr. King, we gotta get out of here. Typical Usopp, this amazing king, and yet everyone knows he's a fraud. Everyone knows he's not that strong. Everyone's trying to get his head. Somewhat comical. Now is not the time for casual conversation. Every last person in the kingdom wants our head. Just completely funny, you know. These people are conversing about how Princess Manchira is not. They were just notified that the princess is not in the factory, and Usopp's just like, stop talking nonsense. They're about to kill us. Okay, so one thing I don't realize or don't understand. Sure, I understand how Usopp's kind of weak, even after his upgrade. You know, I was disappointed about that. I was hoping he'd be stronger than Zoro after the time skip didn't happen. He's still in the same sort of supporting character level of power, but more so than that, if I feel like, okay, I feel like okay, I totally forgot her name. Not Viola, not Violet, not the person with the hands, the person who would use all the hands. Robin. Okay, Robin-chan was so strong before she joined the One Piece crew. At least, okay, let me rephrase that. She was depicted as very, very strong based on the manga of One Piece before she was finally convinced to join the crew. And then when she joined, she fell into this supporting role of weakling, somewhat like Robin, somewhat like Nami-chan. And now, you know, she's stuck in this scenario. Don't get me wrong, she's really strong. She's got these hand techniques, but at the same time, you know, she was depicted before of being able to like take out 90 ships or something as a child. And now she's gotten into a state where, like, sure, she has a bunch of like townsfolk after her, but now she's like troubled along with Usopp. Where should we run to? And one more thing to note, Usopp is like all good now. Like, you still see some bandages on his face, but it seems like he's like all healed up, which is kind of astounding. I guess whenever he gets just so shocked or angry, or his attention gets diverted, he just heals up. Oh wait, is that I believe that's Violet Sama, not Viola. She looks so much like Robin Chan, I can't tell. Okay, so it was Violet San that said, "Where do you propose we run?" Still, I still hold the same thing about Robin Chan, you know, same sort of thing, same sort of opinion. Oh, they found her. They found Manchuri. Okay, they haven't found her, but we, as the reader, now know where Manchuri is. Right now, it's us that needs that power more than anyone. Let me just read this to you. And this is referencing Manchuri, the princess. As I'm sure he wants her power, but right now it's us that needs that power more than anyone. He's talking about how it's guaranteed that he wouldn't kill Manchuri. So maybe this was mentioned before and I just forgot, but I feel like it wasn't mentioned that Manchuri had the power. It just was that she was captured and she was sick, and therefore they had to work for her. But you know, it's interesting that she has a power. I feel like it was mentioned earlier. I don't know. If someone wants to, they could look it up and leave a comment on that. More so than that, though, I find it very interesting. Like, it just makes sense, and I'm very curious to see what her power would be. The princess, obviously, the royal princess. Although the king dwarf doesn't have a power. That old king, he doesn't have any superpower. So this princess does. Who knows what it is yet? Maybe it's one of those things like in Yu Yu Hakusho where the tears create diamonds. Again, it's not really a spoiler because like you find out in the series quite quickly. So anyhow, just continue reading. Okay, so now we see this princess. She's stuck in this like miniature prison in the royal palace.